I didn't go back inside for an hour. I sat in the rain, letting it drip down my neck like guilt that wasn't mine. I thought about the first time we kissed. How she laughed against my mouth and said, I could get addicted to this. I thought about her playlist called Safe Songs, which now felt like an inside joke I wasn't in on. I thought about the time I cried in front of her after my mom's surgery, and how she held me like she was protecting something delicate. Maybe she was just rehearsing. Maybe I was just her warm-up round for someone else's headline love story. When I finally walked back in, she was awake. Sitting up. Phone in hand. Her face paled when she saw me. She tried to smile. Hey, I held up my hand. Don't. Just. Don't. She blinked. What? Eric, I said. One word. A landmine. Her mouth opened, then closed. The pause between that name and her reaction told me everything. Not the lie. The delay. It's always the hesitation that reveals the truth. She stood up, slowly. It's not what you think. I walked past her. Then tell me what it is. She grabbed my arm. I flinched. Not because I was scared, because I hated that even now, even after everything. My body still reacted to her touch like it mattered. I was going to end it, she said. I swear. I looked at her, really looked, and saw someone I didn't know anymore. Or maybe never did. You already did. That night, I slept on the couch. She didn't come out once. In the morning, she left a note on the kitchen counter, can we talk when you're ready? And under it, a post-it with his name and number, if you want to call him, here. A peace offering? A trap? I didn't care. Because I wasn't going to call Eric. I was going to message someone else. Someone she'd never expect. I opened Instagram. Typed in the username I'd seen pop up before. Always in her notifications, always in her likes, never in mine. At Claire knows you. Her best friend. At least publicly. I sent a DM, hey Claire. I need to ask you something. And I need you to be honest. No drama. No covering. Just, the truth. Are you sleeping with Olivia? The reply came 3 minutes later, no. Pause. Then another, but I know who is. I stared at Claire's message. But I know who is. I typed, Eric. She replied instantly, no. Well, yes. But not just him. Not just him. I felt the blood drain from my face. I called her. I never call anyone. But my hands were shaking and I needed something that couldn't be misread. Claire picked up on the second ring. Are you alone? Yeah. You deserve to know, she said. Then tell me. And she did. Over the next 11 minutes, Claire told me about 4 men. 4. Eric wasn't the first. He wasn't even the second. There was a guy from her gym. A coworker on that fake work trip. A photographer she hired for a shoot. And then Eric, the one who fell too deep, the one who didn't know she had a boyfriend. They all thought they were the only one. But I was the one who thought I was her forever. Why are you telling me this now? I asked. There was silence. Then Claire said, because I was number 5. And just like that, the final puzzle piece dropped. She'd slept with her best friend, too, Claire cried. I didn't. I thanked her. She apologized. I didn't. I hung up. I walked to the bedroom. She was sitting on the edge of the bed, scrolling through her phone. She looked up and saw my face, not angry, just empty. You talked to Claire, she whispered. I nodded. How long? I asked. She said nothing. So I repeated, how long? A year. Maybe more. A year. That was 3 birthdays. 2 anniversaries. 6 flights together. Countless nights of forehead kisses and "I love you" s. All while she had 5 other people in her orbit. She started to cry. I didn't flinch. I was broken, she said. I didn't mean to hurt you. You didn't hurt me, I replied. You studied me. You gathered data. And then you turned me into a controlled demolition. Please. You're not sorry, I said. You're caught. She tried to reach for my hand. I stepped back. Don't touch me with the same hands you used to erase me. And then I packed a bag. Just one. No drama. No screaming. No final, "You'll regret this." Because she wouldn't. People like her don't regret. They rebrand that I didn't go far. Just to a cheap Airbnb across town. No windows that opened. No hot water. But at least it was mine. The silence was brutal. Not because I missed her voice. But because my brain kept replaying everything she ever said, overlaying it with everything I now knew. It's not just the betrayal that haunts you. It's how good they were at pretending. I didn't tell anyone for a while. Not friends. Not family. I wasn't ready for the pity in their eyes. Wasn't ready to answer the same question 10 different ways, how could she? Because they wouldn't believe the real answer. Because sometimes the truth sounds like fiction. She cheated on me with 5 people. One of them was her best friend. One of them didn't even know I existed. And she let me think I was her home. A week passed. She texted every day. At first, "Please talk to me." Then, "I'm sorry." Then, "I'm getting help." Then, "I made a mistake." And finally, "I miss you." I didn't reply. I didn't block her either. Because sometimes silence is louder than rage. One night, I got a message from an unknown number. It was Eric. "I didn't know about you. I swear." She told me she was single. "I only found out because she left her phone unlocked during dinner and I saw your name in her photos." He sent a picture. It was from our trip to Big Sur. One I'd taken of her at the cliff edge, wind in her hair. She'd used it as a lock screen photo while dating someone else. The level of arrogance was almost impressive. I replied, "You're not the one I'm mad at." He sent a final message, "If you ever want to talk, I'm here. I know what it feels like." That was the thing about Olivia. She made everyone feel like they were the only one. And we all paid the price when we realized we weren't. Eventually, I started writing again. Not poetry. Not tweets. Just thoughts. One line stuck with me, "Some people don't lie to hurt you. They lie to keep the version of themselves they like." That was Olivia in one sentence. She didn't cheat because I was bad. She cheated because she was addicted to newness. And when newness fades, people like her don't fix the old. They find someone else to fool. 3 weeks after I left, I got an email. Subject line, "Closure." It was from Olivia. The message said, "You don't have to respond. I just want to say this once, clean. I don't expect forgiveness. But I want you to know I'm not proud of who I became. You were always kind. You were always more than enough. I was the one who wasn't ready. I hope someday someone makes you feel safe again. The way I pretended to." Oh, it was the most honest thing she'd ever written. And I still didn't reply. Because closure doesn't come in an email. It comes in the moments after. When you sit with everything they broke. And realize you can still breathe. You can still move. You can still rebuild. Not because they apologized. But because you chose to live anyway. I started a private blog. Anonymous. No names. Just truths. Stories about love, deception, grief. One post went viral, then another. Suddenly I had an audience of strangers who all said the same thing, "This happened to me too." Turns out, there's an entire universe of people who gave their hearts to someone with scissors in their hands. One day I got a DM. It was from a woman named Jess. She wrote, "I think we dated the same girl." I asked for a name. She sent it. Olivia. Different city. Different time. Same chaos. Same pattern. "She told me you were abusive," Jess said. I laughed. Not because it was funny. Because it was so expected. It's what people like Olivia do. They create villains out of the ones they've harmed. So they don't have to look in the mirror too long. Jess and I talked for hours. Then days. Compared timelines. Compared red flags. She'd seen the same manipulation. Heard the same trauma excuses, been told the same lies with the same rhythm. At one point, she said. She even used your poetry. Word for word. From your blog. Turns out Olivia hadn't just been sleeping with people. She'd been repackaging me. Taking my words, my stories, and using them as her own to earn sympathy, connection, power. That's when it clicked. This wasn't just betrayal. This was identity theft. The idea came slow, then all at once. If she was using my story, then I was going to take it back. Not for revenge. For reclamation. Because there's something sacred in truth. Especially when someone else has been renting it without permission. I started compiling everything. Screenshots. Voice notes. Emails. Photos with timestamps. Blog excerpts she reposted and claimed as her own. Every lie she'd told me. Every quote she'd stolen. It wasn't hard, people who lie that much always leave breadcrumbs. Then I wrote an essay. Title, "The Woman Who Sold My Grief." It wasn't vindictive. It was surgical. I changed names. Left out locations. But I painted the behavior crystal clear. I described the charm. The seduction. The slow unraveling. The rewriting of reality. The emotional warfare. The silence that followed. And then the worst part, she didn't break my heart. She borrowed it, branded it as content, and sold it to the next guy for clout. The post exploded. 100K reads in a day. People started sharing their own stories. Others messaged me with screenshots of Olivia's posts. All using language, metaphors, captions that matched mine word for word. Turns out, she'd built an entire persona online based on my inner world. She was a healer. A survivor. An advocate. But she was just an actress with a script she didn't write. A week later, I got a message from her old friend, someone I'd never met. "You saved me from getting involved with her. I was about to fall for her story." Another wrote, "She used to call you crazy whenever I asked about your breakup. Thank you for showing us the full picture." That's when I realized something. This wasn't revenge. This was defense, not for me, but for the people she hadn't hurt yet. Then Olivia messaged me. First time in a month. "You could have called me." No greeting. No accountability. Just entitlement. I replied, "You could have left me alone." No response. Just silence. And for once, it actually felt like peace. Weeks passed. The attention faded. But something strange happened in the quiet. I started dreaming about her again. Not romantic dreams. Not erotic. Just dreams of talking. Arguing. Sitting in the car in silence. Dreams where she was real again. And in those dreams, I was always losing. I told my therapist. Yes, I started therapy. Late, but necessary. She asked, "Do you miss her?" I didn't know how to answer. Because I didn't miss her. I missed the version of myself I thought I was when I was loved by her. There's a strange comfort in being chosen. Even if it's by the wrong person. Even if they only chose you because they needed someone soft to stand on. My therapist said something I'll never forget: when someone betrays you that deeply, you don't just grieve them. You grieve the version of yourself that believed them. I nodded. And cried for the first time since I left. It's easy to say, never again. Harder to mean it. Harder to walk through life and not flinch when someone says, you can trust me. Harder to love again without wondering what file folder you're being sorted into. What role you've been cast in. Hero. Villain. Temporary distraction. But you try anyway. Because the alternative is staying broken just to prove a point. And the only person who sees that point is you. I went back to Big Sur. Alone this time. Same cliff. Same wind. But different eyes. I stood there for an hour, holding her old Polaroid camera. Then I threw it into the ocean. Not because I hated it. But because I didn't need souvenirs from a love that was mostly fiction. That night, I opened my blog and wrote the final post: healing isn't linear. Sometimes it's not even visible. But if you can breathe without flinching, eat without choking on memory, and sleep without inventing reasons for why they did it, then you're already free. No justice required. Just peace. I closed the blog the next day. Not because I had nothing left to say. But because I didn't need to be heard anymore. I just needed to be. 6 months passed. I was back in the flow of living, not thriving. But functioning. I had routines. Boundaries. I even smiled sometimes, real smiles, not survival grins. Then I got an email. No subject. No text. Just an attachment. IMG_0766MOV. I almost deleted it. Almost. But curiosity's a stubborn little monster. I opened it. It was a video. Vertical. Shaky. Olivia, sitting in a dim room, tear-streaked, looking directly into the camera. This is for you, she said. Not for the internet. Just for you. I paused it. I didn't want to give her that space again. But I hit play anyway. She talked for 7 minutes. No edits. No makeup. No performative breathing. Just raw words: I lied to you. I know you know that. But I mean everything. Every story. Every trauma I exaggerated. Every excuse I fed you. I think I wanted to be broken so people would handle me gently. But I used your gentleness like a mirror. To make myself look better. You didn't deserve it. And I didn't know how to stop. I thought if I kept moving, from one person to the next, I could outrun the truth. But it always caught me. And now I see you weren't weak. You were just open. And I punished that openness because I envied it. I watched the whole thing, not because I wanted closure. But because I needed to see her without the mask. And there it was, the face beneath the performance. Not innocent. Not evil. Just small. Like a child holding stolen glass and pretending it's crystal. I didn't reply. Didn't upload it. Didn't even save it. I just watched, then deleted it. Because it wasn't mine to keep. It was hers to say. And that was enough. A week later, I saw her profile pop up on someone else's post. New account. New brand. Same message. But now with words I didn't recognize. They were hers. Maybe for real this time. Maybe not. Didn't matter. Because I wasn't reading them for clues anymore. I wasn't checking for myself in her sentences. I was already written out of her story. And that's okay. Because I was busy writing a better one. One where I wasn't a plot twist. One where my kindness wasn't a casualty. A year later, I ran into her. Of all places, a bookstore. She was alone. Wearing glasses she never needed before. Holding a book I once read to her on a rainy Sunday. She saw me before I saw her. But didn't look away. We stood in the same aisle, just feet apart, surrounded by words that didn't belong to either of us. "Hi," she said. Soft. Not sweet. I nodded. "Hi." No anger. No smile. Just air between us, charged, but manageable. She gestured to the book. "This one still makes me cry." I didn't answer. Because the last time she cried, she was texting someone else 10 minutes later. "You look well," she said. "I am." A pause. "Good." She waited. Maybe for an invitation to explain. To reflect. To linger. But I didn't offer it. Because sometimes healing isn't saying more. It's saying nothing, and not needing to fill the silence. She turned to leave. Then stopped. "I'm sorry," she whispered. Not for show. Not for forgiveness. Just, because. And for the first time, it didn't hit like a knife. It just landed. Like a leaf on water. And drifted away. I walked out of the store without buying anything. Because I already had what I came for, proof that I'd survived. That night, I sat on my porch. Watching the wind move the trees. Thinking about the person I was back then. The one who trusted without fear. The one who believed love was enough. The one who didn't think he could break. And I didn't mourn him. I thanked him. For being soft, even when the world punished him for it. Because that version of me. He was never weak. He was the foundation. And I built everything new on top of him. Months passed. And for the first time in years. I wasn't writing about her. I was writing about me. About mornings that didn't start with dread. About trust that didn't feel like a loaded gun. About how healing isn't a sunrise, it's a flickering bulb you have to keep replacing. I made peace with the quiet. No more checking who viewed my stories. No more scanning strangers' faces for ghosts. Just living. Slow. Steady. Simple. Point. One evening, a friend asked, "Would you date again?" I thought about it. Not the fantasy. The reality. The vulnerability. The risk. The possibility that this could all happen again. And I said, yes. Not because I was ready to be hurt. But because I was no longer afraid of who I'd become if I was. Maybe for real this time. Maybe not. Didn't matter. Because I wasn't reading them for clues anymore. I wasn't checking for myself in her sentences. I was already written out of her story. And that's okay. Because I was busy writing a better one. One where I wasn't a plot twist. One where my kindness wasn't a casualty. A year later, I ran into her. Of all places, a bookstore. She was alone. Wearing glasses she never needed before. Holding a book I once read to her on a rainy Sunday. She saw me before I saw her. But didn't look away. We stood in the same aisle, just feet apart, surrounded by words that didn't belong to either of us. "Hi," she said. Soft. Not sweet. I nodded. "Hi." No anger. No smile. Just air between us, charged, but manageable. She gestured to the book. "This one still makes me cry." I didn't answer. Because the last time she cried, she was texting someone else 10 minutes later. "You look well," she said. "I am." A pause. "Good." She waited. Maybe for an invitation to explain. To reflect. To linger. But I didn't offer it. Because sometimes healing isn't saying more. It's saying nothing, and not needing to fill the silence. She turned to leave. Then stopped. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "Not for show. Not for forgiveness. Just, because." And for the first time, it didn't hit like a knife. It just landed. Like a leaf on water. And drifted away. I walked out of the store without buying anything. Because I already had what I came for, proof that I'd survived. That night, I sat on my porch. Watching the wind move the trees. Thinking about the person I was back then. The one who trusted without fear. The one who believed love was enough. The one who didn't think he could break. And I didn't mourn him. I thanked him. For being soft, even when the world punished him for it. Because that version of me. He was never weak. He was the foundation. And I built everything new on top of him. Months passed. And for the first time in years. I wasn't writing about her. I was writing about me. About mornings that didn't start with dread. About trust that didn't feel like a loaded gun. About how healing isn't a sunrise, it's a flickering bulb you have to keep replacing. I made peace with the quiet. No more checking who viewed my stories. No more scanning strangers' faces for ghosts. Just living. Slow. Steady. Simple. Point. One evening, a friend asked, "Would you date again?" I thought about it. Not the fantasy. The reality. The vulnerability. The risk. The possibility that this could all happen again. And I said, yes. Not because I was ready to be hurt. But because I was no longer afraid of who I'd become if I was.